was it? What was it that you said? I mean, you know, what was the door that you opened one day that changed the way your profession perceived and treated you? What did you do? How did you cause it to change?
I think it goes back to when I was actually a consultant. I was unhappy. You know, I went in there to get rid of the waiting list, and within a few months, one of the senior consultants came up to me in my office, shut the door, said, "Ahmed, you know, what are you doing?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Ahmed, you know, you're working crazy. You're doing these parallel lists. You know what parallel list is?" No? Okay. So, you know, normally surgeons go into an operating theatre. The anaesthetist spends anywhere from half an hour to an hour anaesthetizing the patient, and that's all down to how good the anaesthetist is. A lot of them are not very good. Can't find the cannula and the blood vessel, stressed, faffing around. People don't realise. The grade makes a huge difference, the expertise of someone. So you could, you know, if they're doing a spinal or a block, you could be spending ages because they're not very good. They're technically not very good. So you, as a surgeon, you could be waiting an hour for the patient to just simply come into the operating theatre from the anaesthetic room. Then when they get into the operating theatre, you have to prepare the patient, clean them, drape them, and start the operation. And again, if you're not careful, that could take another half an hour. The operation itself is only maybe half an hour to an hour. And then you close up, and then they have to clean the theatre, and that takes another half an hour to an hour, depending on who's doing it. Then you get them to send for the patient, depending on the porter and how fast they're walking. That could take God knows how long. And then the whole thing starts all over again. So the downtime as a surgeon is massive. You know, and a lot of the doctors will go to the coffee room, and the doctors, you know, will do their private practice, you know, correspondence, letters, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't. What I came up with was, look, when I start closing the wound, my junior can take over, and I'm going to go next door to the other theatre where the anaesthetist has taken an hour to get the patient to sleep, and the patient's now ready. I will walk in, do the operation, and while I'm doing that, they're getting my patient out, cleaning the theatre, bringing in the next one, and by the time I finish the second operation, I can walk back into the first theatre, and the patient's ready for me. And so I would go backwards and forwards. Two anaesthetists, 2 theatre teams, and I was churning out the work. 10, 12 operations in a day. And the waiting list. But then my colleague came in and went, "What are you doing?" I went, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Why are you working so hard?" I was like, "Getting rid of the waiting list." He went, "No, but you're doing this all wrong. You're doing this all back to front." I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you're gonna overwork yourself. You're gonna just burn out. Look, you keep a waiting list so you can have leverage over the managers. And you build up enough waiting lists, and then paid people will come to you in the private sector. And those that can't pay for you, the managers will send to the private hospitals and pay you to operate on them over there. Everyone's happy. You're just disrupting the way things are done. And you're making us all look bad because we are not doing what you're doing." And I was like, oh my goodness.